What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Roxy music, and we're returning to the 1975 album Siren. Thank you, as always, to Seb. And the next tune is End of the Line. A common phrase, though my brain thinks of two distinct meanings, though I suppose there is a bit of crossover. Number one, I think of it just as the end of a timeline, maybe of a lifespan, the end of the line, the termination of whatever linear process is being described. But I also think of a meaning with socioeconomic connotations, which is to say the end of the line as in a bus line or a subway line, some route of public transportation, and usually the end of the line is, let's say, a less significant, lower socioeconomic location than stops earlier in the line. So if you live at the end of the line, you're living rough compared to those who are earlier in that sequence. And I suppose it depends on specifics what particular bus or subway or other transportation line you're referring to. But yes, I have heard that phrase used to mean a place that is on the periphery of the more affluent or thriving, and thus it's a place that perhaps is in need of renewal or has not been maintained or has not seen the same influx of cash or investment, and thus is in disrepair, is characterized by dilapidated buildings and so on. So I imagine that any particular meaning might be more complicated than either of those explanations, but I wouldn't be surprised if one or even both of them factors into whatever narrative is at play. I'll try to catch what I can. This is Roxy music. The tune is End of the Line, and it's from the 1975 album Siren.
Think I walk out in the rain, called you time and time again. I got no reply. in the storm. There's no love to keep me warm inside. I hope it's fine at the end of the line. Now's the time to take a dive. Try magic carpet ride. Everything is wrong. You've gone. If you ever miss me, if I should cross your mind, you know where to find me. I'll be waiting at the end of the line.
I thought it was going to fade out, but then it gave a proper ending. Still holding it. Clearly that bleeds right into the next tune. So yeah, sonically I love that one. It had all of the creative art rock stylings that I've come to expect from them. There were a couple points along the way where I was like, oh, you know, if you change the vocals, I could hear this as like a Beatles tune or something. So yeah, a couple moments where my brain also made some other associations, but again, even without the vocals, I think after 20, 10, 15 seconds, I would be able to identify this as a Roxy Music tune. I enjoy all the different instrumental parts. The fiddle especially really stuck out to me in the section where it sort of took the lead, or they took the lead. I think there may have been two of them at the same time. Also, of course, we had those long and supporting organ type chords, but also like true piano dancing over the top of that. The bass really like rich and powerful, like grooving away most of the tune. And of course Ferry's unmistakable vocals and doing some clever things where he's flourishing at the end of the line, which I did not actually like, pun completely unintended, but I suppose that's a nice segue into the lyrics. Yeah, so I hear multiple lines related to journeys or traveling and even a magic carpet ride eventually, which I suppose could be some form of public transportation. But also I think the idea of like an inn, which is a place where you stay at a waypoint on a journey when you need to rest, but you still have a distance to go. Also a point of no return, which is not identical to the idea of the end of the line, because a point of no return is a threshold past which you can't go back. There is no getting back to whatever state or location you were in before. You're all in, to use like a poker term. You either fail or you continue on until the destination, but there's no going back to where or how you were before that. So it is definitely a notable threshold, and in that regard it could be seen as the end of the line, because at that point anything that happens after it will be something new or something that is different from what came before or where you were before. So I suppose it could be seen as a variant of the end of the line, but not usually seen as synonymous. But then he has lines about like love keeping him warm and clearly talking about another person, and by the end saying, if you miss me, suggesting they had some connection, some experience, some relationship before that is now no longer the case, which, maybe that relates to the point of no return. But he's saying, if you miss me, you know where to find me, I'll be at the end of the line, suggesting maybe they can take the rest of that journey and meet him at whatever place that is, more literal or figurative. I'm guessing probably both. So, yeah, I don't know how it all stitches together, or I can't see all the contours of the story, but clearly there's some interpersonal dynamic, maybe romantic, certainly emotion-based, love-based, but also distance being traveled, a journey being taken, but also a threshold past which things can't be the same, and him waiting at the end should the other person want to go there and meet him at the end of the line. So, yeah, I get a sense of the sketch of the track, but I don't quite know how to fill in the details. In any case, another highly compelling tune. They're just, again, on an island of their own, and it's an island not here on Earth, it's an island on some other planet where most bands never inhabit. In any case, let me know what you think, and I will see you for the next one. Peace.